some of the volume stuff. I'm seeing a little bit of exhaustion on SPY or on ES right now, and we'll get into it. But once you guys take a look at this chart for a moment, there's just a VPR, right, with the standard settings that we got. I use 100, here, if you want to use 200, really doesn't change much, just gives you more levels. So sometimes I switch it, but I think this gives me a cleaner look, right? So obviously here, we are still inside this value area right here. If you guys think about, I'm kind of grabbing from November of 2020. Even if you grab a little bit more, you see where this bounce was coming in. But right now, there's something really obvious here, right? Yeah, I love the artichoke pizza kiss, and that's my favorite. So there's something really, really obvious here. Can anyone, if you to look at this, let's say you're new to volume profile, and I tell you these are support and resistance lines. What do you know here?
I'd take that skinny area.
Okay, what else?
The high volume nodes.
Okay.
You're right. Resistance, it could either go up to that skinny belly or it could dump down.
So right now, and those are all valid points. Right now, we're stuck in no man's land. We're really not making much higher highs, right? We're not making lower lows. So you're kind of stuck here. So if you guys are just to look at these levels right here, you see that we have lower lows or lower highs, and then here you have higher lows, and you're literally pinned right at the supply zone. I would say this is the second highest level right now that we have on the volume profile, unless you go back down and then, you're going to get a little shift, which I think is actually where we're headed. That's just my opinion. I think we're going to come back here. Not sure when, but when we do come back here, it's going to be brutal. And it's going to be awfully quick. So whatever that trigger is, or swan, or black swan event, we're going to get there, right? So the pre-COVID highs, usually you have something, in trading and stock market, they all come back to the mean. The mean on this, when you think about it, we need to come back eventually somewhere around here to these levels. Believe it or not, even somewhere below this would be okay, like 2200s would be okay. Come back in a healthy pullback, just because this is not very healthy. So now if you guys zoom in a little bit here, you guys nailed it, right? You have a skinny belly. So if you guys see here, once you're able to go below this 4105, I would say, if we close on a daily below 4105, this is your big boy level. This is your signal. Would I treat that 4015, 4013 level that I just identified here as a key trigger? Just think about all those psych levels that we have and think about the retail, right? You have to think, what are others doing? You have to think about what is, wholesale doing at these levels. So a lot of times they like to play and trap people, right? And they give them, it's almost like, I don't know if you guys ever watched or seen people have you ever seen those people that gamble the little dice in New York and big cities? They're like, hey, come on over, find the dice under this cup, and you can make some money. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I don't know the name for it, but you guys know what I'm talking about?
Three-card Molly.
Yeah. So what he does, they have these little circles, and what do they do the first time while you're watching? So while you're playing here, this is a trick, right? This is an old school trick. Let's say you're standing here, this guy's spinning it right here. You have a bunch of people here. Some people are like, it's here, here, here. He throws the money and he wins and he gives him the money, right?
Yeah.
And then another guy comes in, he does this, and this guy, the dealer, is losing. This guy that's dealing this, he's losing twice. Then comes a guy and he's like, oh, okay, well, I'll bet 50 here. And the guy's like, man, these two guys won. I'll bet 50.
Yeah,
so this guy bets 50 and then he wins.
That's the mark.
And he wins the first time. And he's like, and the guy's like, hey, double or nothing. And what do you guys think these two guys do? You're like, yeah, man, come on, do it, bro. Yeah, they pump you up. So that's the masses, right? They influence you to go with the masses. And then this guy's like, okay, man, I nailed this one. This is fairly easy. This guy's an idiot. Well, this guy wins again. And now this is where the retail comes in. And now they're like, hey, man, triple or nothing. And this guy's like, okay, sure, man, I nailed it twice. That was super easy. This guy shuffles. This guy's like, yep, it's here. He lifts it, not there.
Yep.
And now this guy's like, what? I saw it there. And the guy's like, yeah, but I also have fingers and the fat skin under my thumb, and that's where it's at. But, you know, you're not going to question those people because most likely you won't walk out of there.
Yeah.
So think about that trick that they do there. The market's going to give you the same. We bounced here, we're holding that level, and then every time retail's like, man, we're going to go for calls here heavy. Well, guess what happens? Right? At one point, it's not going to be the calls that work. You know, the dice is not going to be in that little circle or a cup, whatever you want to call it. It's not going to be there. So when you're shorting stuff, especially when I'm talking to you guys, it's much easier to see it fall down and retest than it is short on the first try. From our last watch list that we talk about SPY 410 level, that they're probably going to come there. You're going to get a rejection. And most likely it's not going to be valid. Like it's not going to be a good rejection. Do you guys recall that from last watch list, like maybe 2-3 days ago?
Yeah.
Let me turn that on. I'll just hide this for a moment. Where's the 410? I forgot what day it was. I think it was here. Nah, I'm lost. I'm really bad at timing. It wasn't this. I don't know. Maybe no. Maybe it was this. It was Monday. Could be that it was a Monday, right? No, it was this, right? Wasn't it this one? Where we had the run. I think, yeah, it was right here. Yeah. This section right here. So they came back, you know, and they consolidated for a little bit. They gave you a nice rejection. If you guys look at it, right? I mean, if you come here, if you took this rejection from 410.69, I mean, that's not bad. You got 60 cents on SPY. You could probably make 20-30% on this, right? So that's pretty good. But then if you didn't get out, you got the taste of, you know, the pigs get slaughtered. So the same concept is here. It was much easier. Was it not much easier to short it once it lost this? Look at the move you got here. And you don't have to wait for this. Once this is lost, if they go over like this and then they lose it in this fashion, if you look at the 5 minutes, you don't have to wait for a retest. This was support. They're failing badly to hold it. And then, of course, the market does the crazy U-turn and then it just goes back up again and takes out the high of the day. Like this never happened. Right?
Those
So-
were Fed speakers.
Yeah. So whatever the news are, it's better to play the retest a lot. And if, you know, sometimes you don't get it on the bigger picture, well, that's okay. On smaller time frames, I showed you the retest might not be the best retest, right? They might give you something close. Don't be a stickler on, oh my God, it didn't hit my level to a penny like some people, aka dumpster. Oh my God, it just came very close right here and I'm not gonna grab it. I mean, sometimes you're not gonna be a perfect trader. You wanna be a perfect risk manager. The trading piece will fix itself. As long as you're a perfect risk manager, this trade will work out for you. Okay. So put that in your head, you know, as you guys are trading.
And today we were watching the retest Rockets and a few people on SPY right off the PD value area high. And as soon as it retested, we jumped in. Remember that, Rockets?
Which one were you guys talking about? So this was our PD high. This is PD value area low. Talking about long.
Yeah.
Okay. No. That would have been good. All right.
As
So
soon
you
as
had.
it retested, we went in.
Yeah, no, that was good. So this was, you know, and we talked about this as well, the 80%. If you're patient enough, believe it or not, 80% can do a lot of good for you. If you're just patient and you can kind of sit on your hands and wait, you have 80% chance to make money. So if I give you something that, roll the dice and you have 80% to win, you should take the odds there. A lot of times you should go with that. So if you can wait, like this one here, this is pretty good here. What do you notice about this value area high that we have here? So it's really, really strong. Most likely the bearish side is not going to work on this. Okay. We've explored it now. I'm looking at it, they're familiar with the levels here. So it's going to be difficulty to get this to, unless for some reason, you know, at the 8:30 we get a massive gap up tomorrow with the retail, housing. I think there's a handful of events tomorrow. Here it says only retail. I thought the housing is also tomorrow.
You have it selected for just the high importance one. Yeah, click that. That's
Yeah.
everything.
Okay. So yeah, there's a handful of things coming in tomorrow. So, well, 80%. Somebody asked the question, which is a good question. You know, does 80% rule work multiple times? The 80% does not. Area low, you know, prior to today, right? So if you guys look at this level here, what happened to this level? You know, it got breached, and then what happened?
It
Okay.
went inside.
Yep. So just pay attention for a little bit. So 41.12. I'm pretty sure I think I annoyed you guys with 41.12 and 41.36. If you do not know these levels by heart, I did something wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So 41.12 and 41.36 are fairly important levels right now. And they have been for, you know, at least a couple of days here.
You hit 41.36. I don't know how many times.
No, today, I mean, it was just slapping that pretty much the whole time. And then here, this was the level. So we lost this, but this is those other time buyers. When you think about this guy here, he lost this level. They tried to get him out of this level here. This buyer here, you know, he did something great. Look at the wicks created, and, you know, in market profile world and the structure, these single prints mean a lot. When something goes, if the price goes below the value here, like it did, let's say in this case, who do you guys think is buying? Is it the initiative buyers or responsible buyers buying here? Think hard, do not think short term.
Responsible buyers because they are waiting for price to come there.
Okay. Could it be any
I
initiative
think
buyers?
initiative. I think initiative because it was it was a strong run.
You're both correct. What's responsible buyer on a small time frame could be initiative on a longer time frame, right?
Okay.
So if you guys adjusted, and if you look at some data, right? If you adjust that, remember the value area high at 40.90?
Yes.
That might be shifting, right? If you guys think about it, if you run it current to the current month, that might be shifting a little bit because we've spent some time and volume at the top levels. The value area will shift as the volume is spent. So if you look at that, there's a possibility that there is other buyers coming in, right? And it could be the level they're willing to initiate buying from, because if they're on the sidelines for a long time, so there could be a different view that you might not be paying attention. And that's why we do certain views like 6 months. You do different views to see, you know, who's in control, who might be buying. If you see the people like we have, right, on value area high, like we have the level that TJ brought up yesterday, 22.5, right? It's a fairly important level. So if we get to that level, we know the long-term sellers might come in there and be what? What would they be?
They'll sell there.
Are they going to be responsible sellers, or what are they going to be?
Okay, yeah, no, I understand now. You're trying to say is the logic of absorption and initiation both go hand in hand, because if one guy, in this case specifically, if the selling is getting absorbed because of the responsible buyers because they're hitting their limit orders, at the same time, the initiative buyers are coming in at the same time to bring the price back up.
Exactly. And it could be the different time frame that they're leading. So this guy here, he's in the, I would call it the still day trade information, right? You're only a couple of days, 7 days away. It's fresh information. This is fresh info. So this guy here, I mean, this is a rocket. When you have a candle like you have here, a bearish one, you come here and then you're able to push this. It's a single prints pushing, meaning this was just whoop. In this instant buy, aggressive buys, they come in, and I mean, this guy like I mean, he made a higher high. It hasn't been breached yet, right? So this guy is coming here. You know, they were able to lose that here. And then, of course, they trapped some shorts here. They would trap people like myself here, and then they popped higher, right? And then here we acted as support, right? Isn't this a simple support flip to resist? I mean, resistance flip to support? This is a simple concept. Hey, you're not able to remember it. I warned you guys and told you about this level. It's super important. And 4112 was pretty good. And earlier today, I think I also mentioned about 4150s around this time. Because I was at the doctor's at that time and I mentioned them, right? 4150s look pretty good.
4112 happens to be a POC.
It is, yeah. It's from this one here. It's from February 7th.
Yeah, 7th. Yep.
Yeah. So this for buyer here is becoming a responsible buyer. Because he defended it here. Now he's just defending his position. He's going to defend it here. Just like this buyer from here is most likely going to defend this PD value area low here. Because if he doesn't, where would you guys expect this price to go?
Lower.
Back to 4112.
Yeah, this
Low.
guy's gonna.
Yep.
This guy has to come here and say, hey, do I have more ammo to defend this aggressive selling? Or are these sellers, remember the bid that ask, are these guys gonna literally take out everything he's got and they say, hey, one of our block orders right here sitting is gonna take that out. So if you guys remember, you have those master orders, right, that are broken down into chunks. So not necessarily do they have to show your hand all at once, but they also want to get higher prices when they sell. So they play games. They let you run up. And, you know, even myself, I'm like, wait, where did these sellers go? He was so aggressive here. And now you're just letting go. Well, yeah, because he realizes there's a lot of those little players that are willing to come into play and drive the price higher. Just like they did auction on that game I said about hiding the matches or whatever you want to call it, the dice. They bid him up from, remember, from 20 to double or whatever we said the amounts. They tripled him. That's what they do here. They're like, hey, man, are you willing to facilitate this a little bit higher? How about 41.55? And then retail sees a breakout and continues higher. So this guy's like, okay, well, instead of selling at my previous level, it seems like I have a little bit of nice guys willing to pay me extra 45 points per contract. Okay. So that's, you know, it's kind of market auction theory, but I just want to tell you guys, when you look at these things, you have to see at what point did the level of respect. So even like if you look here, if I was to look at this POC, is this POC really important to me? 41.28? Not to me. Is there a chance that there was buyers here at some point that were fairly aggressive? I would say so, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they came here, they sliced it, they held it, they retest, and you know they went through it. Then they had some support here. But right now that we are slicing this through a big candle and they're kind of going below it, I wouldn't say that it's something that I would keep an eye on, but there's levels above, like around these levels, 41, 47, and 50, that you know they carry some weight. Okay. So you have to look at the picture and see, like, what are we doing? Are we rejecting? Are we making higher highs? So if you guys think about this, we talked about us not being able to make higher highs. We took out this high. We're not able to take this high. Okay. So it seems like this supply from here is fairly strong. Where they accumulated here, that seems to be strong because we also made lower lows. And then we reaccumulated here more on the selling, and it seems like it's, you know, fairly strong so far. And then when you draw this cumulative level, what do you guys see? Pay attention to 41.12. What level is that?
Yellow.
Value
So
low.
what- So why do you guys think that?
Cumulative value area low.
It's a big level, guys. Now you have, I mean, data all the way from February 1st, almost half a month. And this level is there. And look how well it's reclaimed. You can almost say that this was a spring here. 4060 acted as a spring to get us back. And I mean, we went pretty much to the top so far. So now it's important, right? If we are able to break this 4103, things can change. Things can change quickly here. And then for me, you know, I would say 4097 level right here would be the one that I'm more interested in terms of like, hey, do I start shorting here? I'll probably consider that. Okay. So 4097 is going to be important. I don't know where we're going to open just because tomorrow, if you thought today was bad and choppy, I promise you tomorrow can be even worse. If they're preparing for a really bad move up or down, the market makers have to accumulate what? What do they have to accumulate? They have to accumulate your money. They need to take your money away from you. So how do they do it? Even if you bought, you know, you saw today contracts when we were watching this, I think for like, I mean, it didn't really move. Like, look at this price action here.
Shorty,
think-
4087 is 75 is also August value area low level.
Yeah, that's good. That's just up. Yeah, that's good. But this here, I just want to point, like, this is them taking your money. I mean, you have to be deadly on the direction and the timing. Like, you have to be super deadly accurate. And then you see we're going, you know, we're making lower highs here after the fact, but are we really aggressive here on a sell-off? Not really. This is a good spot to go long. They're not going to sell this. How do we know? Anyone have an idea?
Volume.
And just grab this guy from here to here and see what happens. What do you see? You have a POC and then you have a major shelf sitting literally right here. So if you go long here, put the stop loss somewhere right below. And then if that's lost, well, that's fine. Then you could probably short it all the way for 13 points and catch that recovery. And then here comes the buying. Because this was a fairly big level, but this was a better imbalance than this one here. Because from this level, if you guys look, we really took off. I mean, this candle here created a really big imbalance. So in the world of, you know, people looking at order blocks, this is your order block right here. Is it not? So your bullish order block, right? So you would watch this. Okay. So tomorrow, I would say, you know, if we lose the PD value area low, remember these people, you know, want to collect as much premium as they can before a big move happens. If they give you a reclaim of PD value area low, I would take that. I would take that, run it to PD value area high. That's pretty good profits here if you can catch that. What is that? 29 points. So it would do you pretty good there if you catch that. If you're able to break that 4112, it should, you know, kind of fire off with the warning signals, right? Hey, something is about to happen, and you might not even get to trade that just, you know, from the data in the morning. But if we open below this level, know that these algos might be setting up for a sell-off. Okay. So anything below here would be really, really interesting. Below 4097, I think we have a couple of levels. You guys will have to, you know, I can identify them here. So let's look at PVP just quickly for the 7 days, because this one should have finished by now, right? Should be there on the new one.
7 days 411.5, right at 4112.
So let's see where, forget to always turn it on. All right, so same story here. Similar story as earlier, right? So this is our developing one. It started on Sunday, Tuesday. So we have a couple of days on this one, still developing here. 4112 is going to be important again. And then we have a level here, 487, I think. What did you mention, TJ, earlier?
4087.75 is August value area low.
Yeah, it's also this week here, or 7 days. So that'll be an important level. And then the best thing you could do is what? If you wanted to check this out like this, what could you do? Does anyone see any level before I switch? There's 2 levels you should mark from the 7-day.
We've
What
got a
2 levels?
POC and the value high of the 2
The
weeks
VPOC.
ago.
Okay, we have a VPOC on 7-day.
2 VPOCs.
Yep. So you have 2 VPOCs runs right here. Let's mark this guy. And then you have one guy right here. These levels are going to be fairly important. I think, if you think about this whole volume profile, if I was to grab this, right, from this accumulation here, and then, you have a little bit here. I'm not too worried about this one now because we have some levels that we got to hit here first. So if we break 3830, then, there are certain levels that you want to tag along here as well. But for right now, I'm not too worried about that one. First, we need to deal with this. So if I was to grab, just a regular fixed volume profile from this low, let's say to this high, I'd be able to kind of tell where a majority of the volume is, right? So even though this, even if I extend it to the right, the volume area, of course, is going to shift just because this volume here, and this is a massive, look at how big the volume node is. Honestly, I would be surprised if this POC doesn't shift to the top.
Jeez.
If this POC shifts to the top and we are below the price action, what should that tell you?
We're selling off.
We're selling off. I mean, this is, this POC here, what is this, 38, like 60? Well, I'm pretty sure it's going to be revisited. So that level there, along with this 38, I think it's going to be there. And then you have this 3,900 level. I would say that's your start of the skinny belly here. So they're going to come there, but you have this major, I would say, shelf right here. It's pretty massive. That's going to be important as well. And then you see here, this value area low matches the start of the skinny belly, which they tend to respect and defend a lot. So that 3961, does anyone remember this level, or is it just me that remember these weird numbers? Does anyone remember 3961? Actually, Bean, you should remember it.
Yeah, that's the one that we had that was a make or break.
Yeah, it was a really key level that we talked about. And then one day I mentioned it in chat to Bean, said that level is going to be the one level. And I moved it 3966 at one point just because it shifted. Is going to be the key for move higher. From there, obviously, we ran a lot, but this level here is not forgotten. I would say this level is going to be fairly important. If you're probably going to grab these 3 weeks or 2 weeks, this POC is going to print somewhere around there, I would think. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. And right at 3968. So that level is going to be crucial, believe it or not. And not many people would have a weird level as 3961, maybe because of liquidity here, but the volume is going to be there and they're going to defend this level. So now if you think about this, you have this level here, 477. So let's mark this level just so you guys can see it. So we know, 10 points above the 487, it's August vol, and it's also weeks value area high. One of the weeks, I didn't really label the weeks. Let's put this right here. Let me just mark it purple. Purple denotes value area highs for me. So this one's a mix. I can't make it. I have to pick one. So now if you guys look here, what happened at this level here? Do you guys remember how much stuff was at this level between these 2 points?
Yeah, I do. I remember.
Four levels between 78 and 90.
Yeah.
This was stacked, meaning, I mentioned, even in the watch list, I said there's a high chance they dip below and they trap shorts. They come back and then they run.
Said
I remember that.
The market makers call it the sweet spot or something like that.
Yeah, it's a best spot for them because you know you have this massive drop off as they did, and then you just give them a little peek inside, and then of course they grabbed a lot of liquidity. A lot of shorts were like, "Oh my God, we're going to 4,000," and then of course they just returned and ran it to 4,200. So it's just a game that they're playing, right? And now you have to be always on the right side of the game in the longer picture. So now, you know, what do they do here? Are they headed, you know, to tap the top liquidity they just created, or most likely going to lower liquidity? I would say if they break this 41.12, they're going to come back for the lower level liquidity. And if they lose this level, I think most likely they would come back to 40.37, and then it could be some news come out, good news come out all of a sudden, and they bounce from here. And how many people will be buying, let's say, these puts right here if we're at 40.37? Pretty much the whole Twitter will be buying 4,000 puts.
They're gonna eat those up.
Yeah, they're going to hop in these, and then we're going to get a bounce there, and those 4,000 puts go to nothing. Okay, so their goal is to beat you, just like the little guy with the dice. So these are the key levels that I would watch, right? I know it seems like a lot, but these are our moving levels: PD value area, PD this, and the POC. So I would definitely watch. Make sure you have this. You know, if we stay in the range, make sure you have this extended box. I mean, this is your. If you think about this, this is your range now on the top. So this is your level right here. I would say 478 is your range bottom right here. And then, you know, from here, you know, I care to the kind of the right of it. You could go from here, but you see it's almost two different levels, right? This is a level here. This range here is one zone. This here is another value area or range that they created. So if you put that, you know, if you put this as a top right here for now, 4208, you know that we are in the range here. We haven't made a high. We haven't tapped that yet. Here we made, you know, higher low, and I've given you guys a lesson about when we are ranging and we are giving higher lows or lower highs, what it means. So here was obvious, right, that they really want to push it higher. So that range, you know, true range might be somewhere around here that they have, like this level, 4180. So let's see, if we break the PD value area low, I'm pretty positive that you have a high chance hitting 4112. If they're able to lose this little cluster right here, like, you know, please don't fight over 2 points, you know, 4112, 10. I would most likely wait for 4110. If I was to short it, you know, 13 points below, it would most likely work. It would be a high probability trade on 13 points. Independent, you know, where we open, how we do tomorrow morning, but that's a pretty good zone for us to kind of catch some points. But honestly, this is the move that you're looking for. I would say, you know, from here to here, this is going to be the opening on that. And now we'll look at the clouds as well, just so we can get an idea what they have as well. But is everybody clear on expectations here? Any questions?
I have a question. If you could go to session volume profile.
Mm-hmm.
How did you do the liquidity? What was that?
I just drew the dollar sign so I know where the liquidity is.
So my question is, the past 2 days, the top of the range looks like it ended in a like a truncated auction, like it wasn't complete.
This one right here? Yep.
No. The past 2 days, the 2 days prior to that.
Oh, okay. This one and
You
this
see,
one.
and
Yep.
this one. You see how it's kind of, it looks like it was incomplete auction?
Correct. It's always, remember we said if it has a sharp cutoff, it's a failed auction.
Right. So doesn't that mean that it's bullish? Like, besides the fact that it's over the POC, would that be another indicator that it's going up the next day?
Most of the time it means it's gonna resolve that auction, right? So here, you know, they failed, they dipped, and then they resolved it, right? So this is, as long as you don't have another failed auction at the same level, that's concerning. Because think about the guy. What if the guy that's doing the dices, he said, "Oh man, I don't want to double or nothing." What happens to the play?
Yeah, it's dead.
It's dead, meaning that he's not interested in taking more doubles or more money higher. So that means same thing in the stock market. they're like, hey, anyone want to go 41.51? People are like, yeah, no, not really. And think about large quantities and bid and ask, and they're like, not really, no. And
Like,
those
for
people in the
example,
floors in
if
the
we,
pits, they're not offering, they're not willing to buy.
okay, but if we went back 2 days, right,
2 days.
to
Like this one?
D form, no, down the next one to the right.
Mhm.
Yeah, there we go. So if we go to this, right, we have a failed auction up there at the top, and in the morning we opened up down low, down
Mhm.
below.
Yep.
Could we have a good feeling that we should go to the high of the prior day?
As long as you're above the POC of that previous day, yes.
Okay.
Remember, this is your, what does POC mean? You know, besides the highest volume,
It's the point of control.
Under control.
what else does it mean?
It's a magnet.
It signals, yeah, it's like a magnet. It signals the
Like a
Think
magnet.
about, I
below
want you
is,
to
below
answer
is short, above is long.
Okay, but think about in terms of buyers and sellers. What does it mean?
Most of the volume
Like
or
a magnet.
transactions happen there.
That's where they were most content to trade.
That's
The
the
whole
key
day.
answer.
Yes.
They were happy to trade around this level. And who likes when people do a lot of transactions at that level?
Market
The
makers.
brokers.
The
Brokers.
dealers. If I can get you to do 20 of those trades on the dice quickly, well, it's better for me to do 20 of those than, you know, work with one guy and he might come and hit me with a chair in my head, right? So it's better for them to take little by little. Market makers don't make money. They're not profit. They collect the fees. So that POC is always like, oh, we're happy to come here and trade and take it. And usually when you run away from a POC, if you think about the first slide in the PowerPoint, when you run away from that, either it's news or some new information was presented to the market. So the assumption of the market is that if it's efficient, right, efficient markets, and they have the latest news, right? So if you're running away from the POC and let's say you're going up, so that means I would say in that instance, on that time frame, there's some initiation, and those are what type of buyers? They would be the initiative buyers. They're not responsible buyers. Why?
Because they're normally just market, they're buying at market. They're pushing it up. They're FOMO.
Exactly. They're using market buys. Responsible buyers come in with limit orders and they sit and they wait. And that's what you see on the tape. So when we come and go up and down, you know, last night I mentioned about the liquidity where the first order like shifts up and down, they follow, right? So those were initiative buyers. They place an order, they skip a few levels of the bids. And I mean, pretty much identical happened here. What did they do? Did they run it up? Did they create liquidity on the top? But then they're like, oh crap, never mind. We're going down. They filled that liquidity here. We haven't filled this liquidity yet here. So if the numbers are good tomorrow, I hope we lose PD value area low for a simple reason, right? That I want the 80% rule to drop below, reclaim it, and then give me that. Give me the upside. That would be the best scenario for me. But yes, the failed auctions, you know, to answer your question, if you notice them, you can't just bet on a failed auction. It's going to be retested immediately. Failed auctions can go for a long time, and I can find you some, you know, probably here quickly from a long time ago that haven't been revisited. You know, is this a failed auction?
Yeah.
Right. So you don't trust it, you know, immediately. Like, oh my God, failed auction. I'm going use it in confluence and logic, right? Okay, so the market structure, right? What does it mean when you have a skinny profile like this on top, right? It means two things. There was no failed auction on the top here. The guy was pretty concerned and he took it in his hands and he literally brought that price back into the value of today's session. He said, not today. And then these guys were like, okay, well, let's try again. And then, you know, I would say maybe you got a failed auction here, but they were quick to bring it back down. So that we went to the extreme low here, right? And then they basically retested it, regained it, and then went where? To the extreme high. So you have to think about what are the odds that this person, you know, having this massive sell-off and single prints. Usually when you see single prints like this, and it's not squarish like you were talking about earlier, this means it's a fairly aggressive seller coming in and single print handling, basically becoming a responsible seller on the top, right? So he's driving the price back inside. When you have a lot here, that means there are some buyers and sellers, they're contemplating and they're exchanging. And then eventually they push it higher. But this guy is pretty determined here based on volume profile. And same here on the bottom. There was, not a skinny profile as I've seen, but this is pretty, determination here. You started off, you stumbled up a little bit here, you exchanged a couple of 100 contracts, you popped, and then you're like, okay, well, let's reaccumulate here, and then exploded, right? So yes, you can do that, but use it with confluence of POC, and then where's the imbalance? Are the buyers? Who's in control? So I would add this, and I think being this might help you and some others. If you guys want to write down maybe these 2 questions, I think they will greatly help you. I would say first question is, which way is the market trying to go? Is it trying to go up or trying to go down? If you can't answer that question and back it up, then the second question is it doing its job in attempt to get there? If those 2 questions are conflicting, something's wrong and you're not ready. If you have evidence the market is trying, so my evidence here right now, what would you guys say? What's happening here? Which way is market trying to go right now?
It's trying to go down,
Pacing to go higher.
but at the same time, it's been going higher. So it's
Okay, well, let's look at more evidence, and then let's see if I can persuade you differently, maybe.
We're bear flagging at the previous day value area low.
Okay, all right, great. What else?
Yeah, we got a lot of
It just has to
Yeah,
clear that volume
strong.
shove
We got
and
a
that
strong
POC right there.
Yeah, we got a strong trend going up too.
Okay.
I would say it's absorption of selling because
So
there
think
are
about
wicks
this.
there.
Here, there was 4 people that answered, and what was the split between the answers?
It's like
Just think-
50-50.
Okay, now think about that. You just created the market and the problem. Half of you will lose.
My understanding on this market is that we closed below the POC, which is bearish in general.
Yep.
We opened up, we have fallen below the forming value high and value low and POC. We're all the way down to the bottom of the range. We're at the prior day's value low. So it has to decide if it's going to break outside the value low, which is very bearish in movement. That's why this acts as a support. But in general, the flow that it's done is bearish up until this point.
That's kind of what I wanted to say, but you said it a lot better than me.
Yep, no, that's very good. Okay, well now let me hide this.
We're coming up to retest the previous week POC.
Yeah, if you look at it like that.
What about now? Did anything change here?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a massive skinny belly there.
We're not able to like go out of the value area high, accept new value.
I don't
Okay.
know. On that volume profile, I see a big old skinny belly to the downside.
And it leads to what level?
To the August value area low.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with you guys. It wants to go down, but remember earlier I said time frames.
Yep.
If I'm a day trader, depends who you are. So some of you who answered is trying to go down on a midterm, I would say midday time frames. Yes, I totally agree. I think it's trying to go down. All the signs are bearish. If you look at the volume profile, some of you guys had questions on it.
Yep.
If I turn this guy on and I disable this guy, using a left hand for a mouse is not a very good idea.
By the way, what kind of a day was that? Look at that weird looking.
What kind of day is this, anyone?
Yes, it's a D.
That's a D shape.
D, but then it looks like a double distribution in a way.
It's a D shape.
But it's a weird looking D, that's for sure.
D shape.
But what type of day is it?
Oh, it's
An
typical day.
extended typical day.
This is as typical as it gets.
Okay.
I mean, this is a pretty much if this day continued a little bit higher. So if this range was set to here and to here and it stayed in, then sideways.
Yeah.
Here we got the range 4170. I mean, to 70 points again. Remember, that's what they've been doing. Pre-market range is a little bit higher. That's probably what 80 something points. But this is definitely a typical day. This is POC is a little bit on the higher side. But the key is where we closed. We closed below it, not significantly below it, but I would say there was some sell-off on the volumes that looked a little bit more bearish than bullish.
Yeah.
Right. And the bullish candles here really never got out of the value area for me. So if you think about it, we closed below the POC. POC being on the upper side could be signaling that there was a distribution. You had double POC in that area, right? So you pretty much closed on that day, I guess today still. Here you closed below, but you also closed prior day here below as well. So then when you think about it, remember the short cover rally? How do we determine those?
Usually a P-shaped profile.
Shape.
Usually something like this. When you see a short cover rally, this is something just a mental note for you guys. Usually short cover rallies are short-lived. Like this one. They're usually short-lived because whatever brought them to the downside, they're trying to get you out. And then what do? They come back to the point. So I think this here is trying to go here midterm, but just for the purpose of intraday stuff, I think they're trying to go up here, see if they can defend this. Whoever these people are trading at whatever time is 10 p.m., they're trying to see if there's a way to defend this level right now. And I don't know who anyone has bookmap up, but you can probably see some orders sitting here right below.
Right
this area.
above Shorty though, 4127. You have the previous week POC.
Yeah, I think
Right
I saw
above
that.
it, like 2 points
Yeah.
above.
Yeah.
And that's where
So let's see
that
if
flag
we lose
rejected
this.
from.
I would say if you lose this, and there's equal lows here. Some people call double bottom. You have a little bit of equal highs, so you're kind of consolidating here.
Right around 4128 Rocket.
So if you guys look, this is pretty much what you're doing here.
4127.75. I can throw bookmap up on the stream on YouTube.
Yeah. So you'll see some orders sitting here, resting orders, right? They're gonna try to defend this. They want to push it a little bit higher. Obviously, if I was to short this, I'd rather not short it here, because for me, the risk of shorting on the bottom is always a little tricky. If I was to short something like that, I'll rather short it here. This would be a better short for me. This is where they reaccumulated. Here's something here interesting. Hopefully, you guys are picking these up by now. I would take note of that one, right?
You have orders sitting at 4125 and 4150. I mean 4123, and almost nothing to the upside.
Yep. So that's what I'm saying. They want to push it up, but what they're doing, or what's the odds that they break this here? I would say not very high, but they will squeeze at some point and see if they can push here 2 points higher, but not something I would trade. Okay, so hopefully I've added some light to the questions you guys had, but I think if you're gonna gamble tomorrow again, if you guys didn't, that's great. That's a good discipline not to trade these days until the tone is set. Usually you will have 1, max 2 setups after they settle, the dust after these, right? So you just got to figure out where's the supply, where are they, selling from, what did they tap, and then see, if there's any exhaustion here. For instance, this right here at 9:25 on 5 minutes. If you guys look at this level right here, what does this look like here? This candle, right at open.
Dropping volume.
This is your stopping volume. So this is them saying, hey, we're not going to go lower here. we're finding some value. So if you guys go back and replay and you watch the profile kind of take shape, it was definitely probably going from the bottom lines of, you know, being aggressive, responsible buyers coming and pushing it higher, and then driving, and they basically reclaimed whatever they reclaimed here at that time, and they pushed the price. And then, you know, here you didn't really get major stopping volume, I would say. They did give you a bearish candle. As this was happening, I messaged you guys and I said, what? I sent a message and I said, watch the trend line on 3 minutes, because this is not looking like it's going to sustain this, you know, the angle it was going in, it looked very aggressive. Right. So this is something that I was watching and I was interested, you know, to see kind of fail. They came here, accumulated, right? And there was no sign of exhaustion besides starting picking up volume here. This was your, you know, first signal here, doubling volume, double candle. So they confirmed this right here, I would say, on this candle here. Does that make sense? They were not really giving you a lot of indications here besides this, but this wasn't a great volume sell-off.
I shorted the previous day value area high there.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think the contracts went crazy. The 4100s, I think they hit 12 or maybe even higher from here. I think 12 something here.
Yeah, I was in 4185s. No. What was I in? 3985s.
No, you're in 4090s or
4085. Sorry,
4085. Somebody was. I think KSM was in 4075s. KSM, were you in 4075s?
Pardon?
Were you in 4075s today? Somebody was in
4070s.
4070s. Oh, 70s. Okay. Yeah.
Those
when I got
4085s went from like
I think on that dump they went from like 0.60 to like almost $3.
No, that's a pretty good return. So that's how I would look at it, but I would not force some trades tomorrow. Remember, a dollar saved, dollar lost is a dollar won, because your goal is to, you know, hold the compounding and grow it. So here, you know, here's the bounce here. If I was to bet my money, I would say we were going to go long, and this would be the exit. So you're playing 5 points on ES. But they're going to hold this, I would say, because this, you know, if you think about this demand here, or volume profile, you said 41.25, they have, you know, 41.24.75 is really big.
It was a big shelf the prior day too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shorty, I mean, what was the second question that you?
What's it trying to do? Does it support the direction that you're thinking it's going?
Okay.
Right. Is it doing a good job, basically, to attempt to go that way, whatever that way is that you determined? So if you're thinking market's trying to go up, is it doing that, right? So there's things to consider, right? You know, let's say there's a major shelf here or POC, you know, would you expect it to go up? Yes, but you have to think, what is the position? What do you want to play? Right? A lot of people, you know, right now, I would say, you know, there's some, we need initiative sellers to go through this. Remember, me and you are not initiative sellers. So what does that mean? If you're not the initiative sellers on this level, so I don't think you can move the needle. So why would you be on that side? Because at this point, you're hoping, right? You know there were buyers here before, right? You haven't seen the initiative sellers here yet. Every time they came back and they brought it back inside. So maybe this guy right here, but you haven't seen him yet. So far, this guy's been defending this. This is the first time retesting here. I would trust this guy long, whereas this guy short. Because this demand here created higher high and took this guy out completely. Okay. So that's ES. Sorry if it went long, but I think it can help some of you guys when you look at this stuff.
Well, in general, the POC is acting as a magnet to pull that up, isn't it?
I would say so, yes. I just don't know, you know, after our volume in this case, is that the case? I don't know who's the, the volume, the players, who's involved right now. Say not many. The rich people don't trade tonight. If that's your question for tonight, not sure. But ideally, let's see how we behave tomorrow. I mean, ideally, if they want to pop this, ideally, long side, lose this, reclaim, go long, and then get smashed at PD value area high, go above it. I was still short it below PD value area high. When you go over a level and lose it on the downside, that's usually a better setup than initial entry because they're going to try to stop you out with that low spike over.
Shorty, on a lighter note, the last time you and Anna Calling discussed something on Twitter, that was the high August.
Oh yeah.
Then Dumpster going on a vacation soon as well.
I think that'd be a good sign. That'd be the best sign we see if he goes on vacation. Okay. So I think that's enough on ES. I wouldn't want to add more levels unless you have, the 2022 POC value area high, low, just so you know where we are in terms of that. But I wouldn't add more than that. And you guys know the upside levels besides this, we have like the 2270, 4271. Of course, we have the 4300, right? So there's a level sitting right here, right? So okay, I'm trying to get there, but it's sitting right here. Then you have the 4300, and above that you have a POC at right here, like 4460. You have a VPOC actually there. So I'd mark those levels on the higher time frame, but for now, I think your picture is here, unless you're willing to swing some contracts on ES or SPX further out. I just don't think you have a entry here for swing right now, as we're a little bit choppy. Okay. Is there anything else you guys want me to cover on this, or?
Maybe you could go to the clouds quickly.
Yeah. That's where I was gonna go. I just wanted to make sure you guys are. Let me go shift. I will delete something just to clean up the chart. All right. I gotta adjust this from this monitor to that monitor. I gotta restart my toss at some point. All right, so let's take a look at this. We'll start with ES and we'll go from there. We'll start at 2 hours. So here's your 2 hours, right? So not gonna say I told you so, but we did go to that, the daily top and the weekly top. They were really confluenced together, right? So here, if you guys think about it, right? So there was a couple of levels on the upper side that were resistance. You had the weekly top and the daily top. Right now we are inside the 4 hour top, and there was a significant play on 4 hour top. Does anyone know what happened here? Green cloud's a 4 hour.
That's a bearish money shot.
It's a really, really good bearish money shot. Usually when you go to the daily, you get rejected, you fall back inside 4 hours. That level is pretty gold. Do you guys remember me talking today when we were trading live? Like they're not going over the 4152 at that time. 4152 was the top at that point here. I think it was right here somewhere. No, it was 4175. So at that time it was this level, and they're not able to go over it. So I kept saying, hey, this is just a short, but they're just not selling through it. Like there was no, confirmation that they want to go take this lower. And then of course, they little by little they dumped it, and then you see this kind of like a meltdown slowly of getting there, right? So they started really late. But this was a bearish money shot. Now you have this level here is probably, not going to change here at 414, which is our 4 hour mid. If we lose that, where do you go?
August
Three,
value
four,
yellow,
bottom.
4088.
You're most likely going to go to the daily mid. So from 414, remember I said it's 412, 410 for me. I would probably wait for that. Even though this is as probably more accurate than anything else, right? Because it does have volume and certain things in there built in. But this area here is going to be quick if we lose that. They're going to try to defend this. If they dip below it and they regain this level, it's going to be a good level because they're going to push it back to this level. If they regain 4160, high chance they go to 4190. But right now, if you guys think about this, let me just expand a little bit.
So a bearish money shot happens even if the cloud's open?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I misunderstood that one.
Yeah. What? No, well, good question. I guess let me clarify that. If this cloud was closed, let's say we dip below it and cloud closes and we come to it, that's my favorite play because I know they can't go higher. And that happened last week at 4176 level, if you guys recall, on 4 hours. I said, if this happens, remember me and you actually waited on the call for them to push it to 4176 because the cloud was closed and they did it the next day. Do you recall that?
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
Never came that day there.
They never came that day, but they hit it the next day. And I mean, it was just beautiful. They came to it literally to a penny and poof, collapsed. So the bearish money shot gives me, I would say, overconfidence. If we come under it and it closes and we hit it, man, to me, that's just easy money. Like I'm able to see that they can't go higher. I will most likely take that bearish money shot 50 out of 50 times with a little bit higher position. So now, you're kind of stuck here if you guys look at these levels, because these are, these are the zones and these are the levels you can play in between. Between here and here, price can go and go higher. Between here, price will go and go fast. I'm pretty sure we're going to go here, right? So if you guys think about that PD value area low, the 4124 from the other screen, there's a high chance that, we will most likely go here, probably, trap a little bit, dance here, and then they will make a move. If they go to the downside, if they lose that 4110 level, it would give me a little bit of a signal, hey, maybe we go lower. Just know that they have liquidity here. So if you're not comfortable trading before this level is set, there has to be a damn button to make this 0. So if you're not comfortable, you can wait for this liquidity to be taken down, go through it, and then you could short it. I mean, it's still pretty good. You're talking about 20 something points to the, the daily mid here. And then 4-hour bottom of 480. If we slightly have to break the 4-hour bottom in order for them to trigger the algos to start selling to the daily bottom. So daily bottom would be the target here. Does anyone know why?
It's open space.
Complete the cycle.
It would complete the cycle, right? So if you guys think about this, this was Airbnb. Let me change this guy to ES. I'm just gonna change this to 30 minutes. Okay. So let's just kind of look at it, right? So the cloud's closed. It's pretty good closed. If you guys look, do you guys have these MACD labels for TOS? If you need them, just let me know.
Yeah, we have.
Okay. So these MACD labels kind of tell me immediately how shot is this, right? Is this pretty good shot or okay shot? This is okay. This is pretty good shot. Anything below -1, I'll be like, okay, it's kind of closed, but it's not really closed. So if you guys now look here, let me go in 4 hours just so you guys can see. So here we started, top cycle, and you completed it all the way down to here. Let me just scroll. So here you completed in 5 days. Then you consolidated here, I would say on the regain of this level here to here, you completed in 14 days up cycle. And then you've been literally ever since, you never broke what?
Mid.
You never broke mid, and you had a 4-hour full cent from there. Okay, so there's a high chance that you will get a bounce there, and that level we also have on the VP, right? Something to note here that you guys see the power of these moves on the histogram and the MACD on the bottom. There's really none. I mean, we're evaporating the momentum, right? So it's coming down. There's a lot of signals pointing, that we're a little bit tired. If you guys look at it on the daily, there's this momentum is dying. So, and if eventually when we lose this trend bar here that you guys see on the daily, that's a pretty good gauge if the momentum shifted or not, in my opinion. So this trend bar here will most likely tell you, hey, something's going on if you lose this level. So if you lose this level, 4063, I would say with 80% certainty that you're going to hit the bottom of the daily cloud.
Shorty, can you check that question really quick that I posted in main chat?
Yeah, I just want to finish this. And
oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Would you wait till if you were going to short, would you wait till you passed over the mid?
Yes. Hell yeah. I would not short at the mid. We haven't been below the mid since, on a bearish push, we haven't been below the mid since, when is this, 12:15? So yes, they're going to try to protect this. And I think this is the time where they push down through it. There's too many, breath indicator signals that are suggesting we're going to break through it. And, something to note as well on this one is this is the setup, even though some of it was done, pre-market. But look at this. You came, you came under. Did you break the clouds when you came back under at all?
Nope.
Nope. Came back here, you hit the clouds. If you're going to hit the clouds from outside, inside, in, you're always targeting mid. That's always the target. It's basically ping pong. Think about these clouds as you went above, you failed, you come back. Now you're headed here. This is your first target. If you break this is your second target. So now, the cloud is closed. And you're rejecting it, right? So now if you wanted to play a short somewhere in between, sure, you can do that, but it's not a level inside here. Ideally, you want to look for lower level clouds and find a setup so you don't have to wait for 4190, if that makes sense. I don't know what the odds are of them coming back to 4190 just because we were there just recently. So maybe they run away from it, like create a new low, fill this liquidity, and then push because we have those news. So I don't know. That's where I would look at, usually what I do is I will mark these levels. This would become my, like DT, this is 1.5. And like this is my daily mid. So now if you look at this, and then you overlay the clouds. So now if I change this, let's say 4 hours intraday cloud, right? So let's say here. So here's your 4 hours. So you see the daily middle is very close to that bottom here, 8 points away. And this is our 4 hour cloud right here. So the 4 hour, you see that it's green still, the top's open, the bottom's not. So if you do come to this level, and let's say they manage to keep this on the green side by not drastically dropping it, I would suggest, there's a chance that we get a bounce here. Right, so you have the daily mid and this level within 8 points. Maybe they dip it below this 88 and bounce from here, right? So you would want to come back if you're going to short this. You want to come back here and then you want to kind of short from here and show the weakness and then go down to the daily bottom. Okay. Let's see for the weekly, and then you see the weekly meds here, 39, and the bottom is all the way at 3,600. I'm not gonna say anything, but we're gonna be here quicker than we got there. And then I don't think there's Check quarterly real quick. I was praying they'd push this to the quarterly, but they did not. They didn't push this to quarterly, but if they did, that'd be great. And we hit, here the monthly middle. I think you guys were aware of this level. We hit this pretty much right on. I honestly think once we lose this 40.63, there's a lot of chance we come back to the weekly bottom here, which was, I believe, 3,600, 36.76. Okay. And I don't know where the yearly, but that's so far. Yeah, so at 32.81, this would be our bullish backdoor. So
I would love to see that.
this would be an explosion here.
Well, I would be selling my shorts there.
Yeah, I would switch my 401k at that point. Okay. Okay. So
I don't like that full send up at the bottom there.
Well, this one here, I would say most likely is very close to being probably.
It looks like it should complete around 44 to 4,500.
It would be here, this range.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shorty, you said you'll switch your 401k by then, so could you please elaborate?
Say it again.
You said you'll be switching your 401k by then, when that 3,600 is reached.
Yeah, so right now, I immunize my 401k. I've been out of equities, man. I don't know. I think I was out somewhere around here. I think I got out, meaning what I did is I opened a brokerage link account and I basically hold my money in a cash account. It's called a short-term brokerage cash account. I can buy mutual funds or I can just let it sit as cash. So basically I just let it sit as cash where it has zero risk sitting there. And then once we come to this 3,200 level, instead of them managing 401k for me and telling me, hey, every week just buy S&P 500, buy it here, buy here, buy there. I just take my money up from here and I'll wait for a nice pullback and I'll buy from there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart.
Sometimes 401ks give you the option to do the brokerage link accounts. I don't think they do all of them, but certain brokers do. So,
Shorty, would you mind doing SPY for a minute?
let me see if they're done here. If anyone's got questions on the clouds. So any questions here?
Shorty, do you have maybe a video or resource material on the MACDs on the clouds? Because I'm familiar with the clouds, but not necessarily the MACDs and the significance of them.
Yeah, I think I did a class at the beginning, catching rockets. If not, we can do one. But I can send you some materials. Yeah, I have some.
We haven't done MACD, no.
No, okay. I can do a class, or I can send you some materials. It's fairly simple stuff.
Okay, thanks. I know the MACD indicator is separately on its own, but as part of the clouds, I'm not really sure about that.
Yeah, so if you understand the MACD on a standalone, yeah. So the MACDs that I use, I share that MACD with you guys. It's slightly a little bit different, right? In terms of modifications, divergences. But the whole premise of the clouds was built around the momentum and the shifts along with the ATRs and volume profile. They're adjusted levels. If you were to plot some Keltner channels on these clouds, you would not necessarily get the same levels, but the strategy was built after testing, right? When MACD shifts, certain clouds close. and that gives you a little bit of more confluence that there's a low chance that they can break that range of a cloud. That's why I usually say don't trade within the cloud. When we're in the cloud, you don't want to be trading. And if you look here, look what happens when you're in a cloud. All right. You hit the top, you get the momentum, and then here when you get out, you accelerate always. So yeah. We can talk about it, or I can write up some stuff. I actually have a PowerPoint that does a pretty good job explaining.
Thank you.
Can you explain MOC? Yeah, I think we touched on MOC. So basically, MOC is market on close, right? So it's a non-limit market order, if that makes sense. So instead of buying market orders in the beginning of the day, what they do is they wait until literally last. I think they have to submit. If I remember, it's 15 minutes or 10 minutes before the market close. You have to submit the MOC order, and usually MOC order is not like small quantities, and not every broker has it, right? So it's certain brokers, and I think there's thresholds on the amounts itself. So, and the main reason why they do that, right? If you're a buyer or seller in that case, you want to get pretty much the best price available, and that's why they wait. And the second is if you're playing with large volume, they don't want to create an imbalance somewhere and start. Imagine if if Warren Buffett started selling TSM today during the day, right? It would be massive. So that's why they sometimes do it off private exchanges, and they sometimes, not him and his group, but they would use MOCs for larger orders so they don't impact the market. I would say these MOCs are not as directional as you guys might think. Okay. And if I'm a big hedge fund and I want to close my position at the end of the day and I don't want to use extended hours or whatnot, I can just put sell MOC and it'll basically close itself 10 minutes before. That makes sense. So hopefully that helps. It's just accumulation of orders at close. Okay, can you please ask Shorty, did he measure VP on consolidation or flag like we in at the moment? I'm not sure what that means. Catch your rocket. Really not sure.
Yeah, I think it was when you were doing the fixed range volume profile.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what flag.
Okay.
I'm measuring just the consolidation here to see for number of these days if I can get a cumulative level, right? And now it's pointing to that 41.12ish, and then the POC. So the purpose of it is so I can see this whole picture in one volume profile. I want to see consolidated so I know where's the value area, right? Which is important. And then I can know where the point of control is. And I can see how maybe aggressive or not aggressive are buyers to bring it back inside the value. And so far they were pretty adamant to get it back inside. I'm not sure if I answered the question or not.
I just asked for clarification, so we'll see.
Yeah. On stocks, to be honest, I'm not too worried on this one yet. I think I have a pretty good fill myself on this. I think it was 1903. So hey, woohoo, I'm green. Yeah, I don't think there's a reason for me to panic just yet. And TSM, what did it dump after hours after it sold off? No. Look at this. A little bit, not much. Yeah, so it took a little beating, but I think this has a lot more room to come down right now. And when we talked about this, do you guys recall this, that we really wanted the price to come back down? If I wanted to get shares, I wasn't willing to buy at 80, 90. On this one, I was really interested to buying back inside here or the POC. So around 50. So it will have to lose 50% of its value here for me to be interested in it. And if they're losing value and they're seeing, Warren Buffett's not selling this for no reason, I would say. Here's our NVIDIA, right? I mean, NVIDIA is running, I would say, pretty strong even today. I don't know if they had news. Well, $17 today. So a lot of volume being. So I'll be interested to see how big is this consolidation on it. And I mean, SOX is gonna do the opposite of these guys. So this will be an interesting level on the video to watch. There's another shelf here. Well, let's see. I would say somewhere here for 231.
Nvidia will be a bullish, bearish money shot on monthly. If it hit 272, the monthly cloud is closed.
Yeah, I mean this is a huge, like if you think about this, this is on the daily, this is gonna be a nice accumulation here. This is where it all started from, it seems like. So 279.34 would be the level. So 242, then you have a shelf in between and then a pretty big shelf here. Yeah, I still have stocks and SQQ. I have some shares on SQQ. By all means, it's bear flagging here, so I should be scared, but yeah. Not too scared. Okay, anyone else?
Palantir.
Say it again.
Palantir.
Oh, the.
But they just had earnings. They popped up. I just want to see.
I didn't read their earnings. I did see that supposedly they had a first profitable quarter. I mean, they've been in this range for some time now. So we're kind of peeking through here. Some decent volume here came in. I mean, it's the biggest volume since February last year. And they can probably reclaim this level. This would be good. If they do, it probably go to 12 bucks. If I think about companies, right, I'm not gonna get too excited if your quarterly revenue is 500, and then if you look at the market cap, it's not like you're blowing it out of the water. And all of those directors and CEOs have been selling this crap the whole time. I mean, I'm not saying that if you hold this your whole life, can it go become something crazy? I don't even know what they do. But
they do. They have AI, primarily government contracting stuff. They used their technology to find Al Qaeda personnel and so forth, and apparently they just recently helped stop a attempted coup or something like this in Germany, or some sort of thing going on there in the German government.
Oh God.
Not coup isn't the right word, but
Yeah.
something's
I get
going
your
on.
point. Yeah. I mean, they could
So I
get
just
busy
thought with this
from
day
all
and
the
age,
news. Yeah, I mean, they
that's
could
what
get
I'm just.
really busy. Yeah, but they can also get. Imagine if they report something wrong.
I know. I just have
Yeah.
some, and I'm looking to when I can get out. And I mean, I was thinking of getting out today, but if I'm gonna get a couple
Hopefully
points
you
up,
didn't buy it here. It'll take a
I'm
long time.
in profit.
Good. I would, it depends how many shares you got, but you can always protect yourself with some calls, selling calls, and then if you.
Okay.
Right? That's usually how I deal with stuff. Like when I trade AMD even heavier positions, right? I'll look like I got rid of, excuse me, I got rid of all of my AMD shares, right? Whether I did the right decision or not, that was to be seen. But for me right now, it's pretty good. 58 to about 86 I got. And we're stuck here. When I look at these 3-day candles, they scare the crap out of me. So for me right now, you're consolidating. Could we be pushing higher? Yeah, definitely. I think, with the whole AI chips and all that, we'd be pushing higher. But I don't know if there's another down cycle that they won't bring it back down to that 50 level. And I'm pretty sure I would say they will. I'd be another buyer here. We tapped this level last time perfectly. So I'm pretty sure at some point we'll get the opportunity here. Okay. So we covered that. SVP, we covered clouds.
Please.
Do SPY.
Thank you.
Okay, so by the looks of it, right? So it looks like they're flagging here. Oh, I'm sorry, bull flagging here on the higher time frames. The volume is picking up right at the resistance. Not the best looking candle here, even if you look at the 8 hours. So anything below 408.59, there's a high chance that we would probably dump, I would say, to 405, and I would think that we're gonna go to some VPOCs right below that. I think there's one that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Sitting, I think it was, well, no, it's no longer VPOC, but there was one here, but I'm interested in the one that's a little bit below here. On ES, it's, well, yeah, I think it was around 400. So this one here is one that I'll be looking for to get.
Yeah, 446.
Yeah. It's not a VPOC, but this is a level that hasn't been really tested since we left from it. So you came back, popped, obviously you got the trend line here, but I would look at this level here. So if you break that 408, you have a little bit of level here. And then the best thing to honestly do the SPY, this is what I love doing on SPY, just because it respects it pretty good. So if you go like 3 hours and grab some data. So here's your, think about this. Look where the POC is right now.
Yeah.
So if you're able to break that 412.26, come back for a retest or show us a sign that you can hold that, right? I would say it's a little bit bullish on the upside, right? If you can hop over that, then if you break this value area high that you created here, that's pretty massive so far. I would say 416.62, and we hit that. We had that level actually. I think it was 416.65, right? That we had marked last night. Or
Yeah,
night
you marked
before.
that.
Yeah.
So we came right to it, right? So I was didn't think we were gonna break it then, but we didn't break it. So I'm pretty sure we can come to these levels. I would not trade this range here. This here, can you scalp this in between? Yeah, I mean, you could definitely scalp this. There's people on this call that can do it. It's just not something I would be like excited about because it can be choppy. And if you look this all the way to the left, look at these, the wicks inside, the candles, not something I would trade, right? I'd rather trade if you're going to be aggressive, 409.59. If you break this level, you can do that, but really it would start, I would say here, 409.5, you can break that. Most likely you would catch it all the way to 408 or 407. What is this? 82. That'd be the level I'm interested in. Like this is almost like $2. You can catch that, and then in between, there's some decent volume here. If you look at it, right? So there's a nice little shelf here that they created. I'll just delete this for a moment. So they created a shelf here that's gonna be an important one for them. Let me see if I can freaking grab this. So they created this shelf and it's telling you a story. You came here, rejected it, you accumulated, you popped, you retested it, you kind of broke through it, right? You didn't hit that and bounce off. So I don't know how strong that demand is right now. But we'll test it here. I think we tested if the retail numbers or whatever happens, high opportunity that you, or high probability you come back and test this. If you lose this level this time right here, I would say call it 405.5. Right below this here. I would say you have a really strong chance going towards the 400 this time, even though they have some minor shelf here, right below here.
Yeah.
404. If you see 404 taken out, easy short here. This is gonna be fly zone.
Gotcha.
So the best risk reward is here. You know, you have in between these levels, and you can manage this to be profitable trades on smaller time frames.
Yeah. Just take my
Sure.
time and watch them.
Shorty, on those shelves, are you playing like? I know you kind of play like a range, like a not like a specific level. It's more like a range, like a box. But if I were to grab a level, would it be like the bottom of the shelf or the top?
Well, it depends, right? So does anyone know the answer to that question? Bean, do you remember?
Depends on the direction it's going.
Yes. So you want to protect yourself. You want to hit the, you know, if I'm shorting, I don't want to give myself more space, but there's a shelf here. I would protect myself and put those level on the opposite side. So I get out sooner to not catch a bounce if I'm shorting, right? And if I'm long, right, and I'm looking at these levels, right? So let's say I go long from here, right? I see that there's a, you know, stop at 410.9. And I'm like, I want to go along from this level here. I'm gonna delete this level, just FYI.
It's like you hide behind the shelf.
So if I'm going long here, I wouldn't put my profit to be above here. I'll put my profit to be a little bit sooner than that level. I want to sell when the volatility is increasing, right? When it's going a little bit higher, and I can sell it into strength rather than me catching a sell order and then trying to get out, and those contracts are going to lose 20-30% immediately. Okay.
Thank you.
So you play the side you're on, right, in your favor.
Can you check FVC, Shorty, please? Sorry, VFC.
Oh, VFC. Yeah, I know this one.
My bad. My dyslexia kicking in.
Yeah. I mean, this is a really good dividend stock.
It looks like a good long entry there.
This is my average. So, well, not mine. This is my son's average. He's 6. So yeah, I like this level personally, but this is not a company I'm willing to. I'm gonna hold this one for a little bit longer, right? It just depends what people think and what's their, you know, goal. But if you look at this, you know, this is a major shelf here. If you lose this level right here, let's say, you know, my average is around this level, actually, like where we are at. If we lose this level, then you have, hold on one second, guys. What happened? Hold on, sit here. Just sit here. So if you lose this level here, I would say that would most likely trigger me to close it. And you guys can see why. So I would most likely close that, and then I'd be looking to buy in this range. I don't want to sit through this drawdown here. Yeah. I like this. They pay pretty good dividends. Okay. All right, guys.
Would you mind checking Netflix, Shorty?
I'll do that, and that'll be it. I got my son's here. He's awake for some reason.
All right, thank you.
There you go. I don't think I have to tell you anything on Netflix here.
Sure.
Well, that's the level that I missed. My short level was pretty much what we hit. We missed this. I'll be interested below 355 potentially to short. We are consolidating here. So this whole area, if you missed the short on top, now you're consolidating. Ideally, if they push this up, my ideal scenario is always sometimes different, but I would want this now than a first tap here because you're consolidated, you're closer to resistance, high chance you break through it. I want to see go up, fail, and then, well, I guess something they like to do. And then I want it to crater and go to $80, somewhere around here.
$80.
My target on Netflix is $80.
I just want it to burn.
They're gonna burn themselves. They're paying a lot more for content. They're paying $300 to acquire a single customer, and they're gonna burn themselves with this password non-sharing policy. So I don't know who's leading them, but I would think they're doing some wrong shit, especially with millennials. I'm pretty sure half of UGA is using 4 accounts. So those kids don't have money, right? So they're watching it, right? And they will become your customers, but they can become your enemies if you screw them now. That's just my take on it. Just look at their financials. I would definitely go through them, just like UPST. If you open their earnings and take a look at it, I mean, this is, to me, this is a joke. I don't know who took this public and why they were underwriting this to go public, but this is a disaster. I mean, revenue down 52%. Their EBITDA, I mean, they're not even trying to hide shit anymore. Down from $140 million. I mean, I don't know how you managed to do this. And if you guys are bored tonight, look at this data here that they have. Upstart funding greater than 20% of total funded loans participating deal. Okay, let me just do it. Let's see. There's your originations. You see the spike. There's your originations now, I believe, by the credit score. Let me see. Okay. What do you guys see here? Starting to build, and there's a better chart. I think I've posted it for you guys. It's gonna spike, and majority of the buyers are millennials less than 25 years old. When you're buying an inflated asset, you're less than 25 years old, and these people are proudly selling out of loans or buying them. Oh my God. Here you go. 780 billion total annual, and they're selling quite a bit. Yeah, I don't believe that. Okay. Yeah, so for instance, yeah, I think this one is in a tough position to climb out. I'm looking to see if I can actually short it with shares. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that'll be it for me. I'm going to be traveling tomorrow midday. I think we're leaving around 10:30, 11. So I'll hop in the morning, see what they do, see if we can get an update, and then I'll be on my way to New York.
Thank you, Shorty.
So
Safe
talk
travels.
to John Kramer.
All right, thanks, Shorty.
All right, guys. Thank you. See you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.